Well, welcome everyone to another session of Crituitous RP. By way of quick announcement, we did say at the end of last week's session that this week we would be not playing, but things cancelled and we get to play. So, joining us tonight, we have Loic, Erin, Artir, and Gamel.
Pew, 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 pew.
So,
it was brought up to me this week that Gamel looks like Yosemite Sam with little pistols. Just woo!
Previously on Crituitous RP, the group of adventurers had ventured on the airship towards the forges of Ironslag. Their purpose there is to investigate and find out what the fire giants are up to, but also Duke Zalto, the lead fire giant, apparently has a conch of teleportation somewhere within his home that will aid the players to get to the court of King Hecaton in order to finally figure out what happened and why the giants are just going crazy. So we left the group as they had finished working their way through the mines that led towards the back entrance of Ironslag. They had encountered a couple dwarven slaves who were mastered over by some salamanders, and after freeing those slaves, they got a clearer idea of how to get where they were going. So it was fairly quick as they made their way from the top of the mines through all of the tunnels, winding their way further and further down into the heart of Ironslag proper. They got to the main doors, these huge, giant-sized iron doors which led into the forges when we ended. We come back to that point with Loic, Erin, Artir, Gamel, and Lael all ready to enter through these huge iron doors. Just as the group start pushing on these this heavy lump of iron, Lael pauses for a moment. She looks off to the distance as you have all seen this happen before. This is when she is communicating with someone via her sword and the gems that are involved. A look of horror drops over her face as she just turns to you all and says, I'm sorry. My family, my father, they're in danger. I need to go. I've got to go. And without really waiting for an excuse or even saying goodbye, she hops right back up onto Angaste, her mighty lizard steed, and just turns to barrel away back up through the mine shafts.
Hopefully she hears me before she leaves completely, but I will tell her that whatever happens, I'll contact her after Ironslag.
Thank you. You'll know where to find me. And if there's nothing else, she disappears off as you hear the distant sounds of the lizard working its way through the tunnels up towards the surface. Leaves the four of you now at the door to Ironslag proper.
Well, that was certainly inconvenient. Timing?
Yeah. That. Yes. Well said. Gamel's a little stupefied.
Well, it's been about a year and a half or so, and we've all been very busy 24/7. There's no good time for an interruption, it seems, especially when your job is to save the world. Let's make sure that we're not in eyeshot of any enemies here, and see if we can find somewhere we can kind of sneak along. I don't like being out in the open.
Well, yeah, we should discuss without Lael here. That changes what we can how we can move forward. Okay.
Should we step back into the mines real quick and take a side passage and recongregate and talk about this?
Great idea, Loic. I am on board with that.
Not too far into a side passage. Because they said the side passages were possibly trapped.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the maps that Aaron has, or at least the map that he's got on him that led you down this way, doesn't have any indication of any of the side passages. So as you make your way back a couple minutes, round a couple corners, you try to stay as close to the path that you know of, so that you don't risk getting lost or falling through any sort of unknown traps. You are quite a distance away from the door, and there is no sound throughout the mines. It's all very quiet, as you are now 500 feet below the surface, or at least below the surface of the mountain where you had entered.
So, are we still going to try to do this diplomatically?
I do not think the king is keen on us solving this diplomatically.
Gamel's just rubbing his head.
Well, the only reason why we were going along with what Morin wanted was because of Lael's potential home, which we don't know what's going on with that since Spiraner seems to be in trouble.
What do you... So we want to get the... Okay, let's break this down. Our goal is to get the giants out of here, correct? And we can either do that by having them leave, or we can kill them all, right?
We have two goals, as I understand it. We need to get the conch shell, which may or may not be given over freely. And the king has asked us to provide proof that the giants are no longer a threat, which to me suggests evidence that their leader is dead.
Did they want Iron Slag intact? Or did they just want to remove the threat from the area?
Well, I think they wanted... I mean, it's good forges. It's a good place. If they could come and live here, great. But I think at the very least they want the forges terminated, so whatever they're making here stops.
So maybe destroying the forges and making it not worthwhile to stay here would be more beneficial.
That's a good lead. I might interject here, though, and let you know that the kind of forge that can contain a primordial will not be difficult, or will not be easy to destroy. I don't think that anything I can do can destroy it, unless, I don't know. No, I don't know.
I'm just thinking if anything that we can do to make this area not profitable to be in is maybe better than
Can you
attack at this point.
Is there any way, Loic, with your jumping between planes of existence I still don't really understand, can you just like open a hole to the bottom of the ocean or something and just let that pour in here?
I'm willing to do an Arcana check to answer that, or anything of the sort.
Yeah, so go ahead and make an Arcana check.
So even I don't know. Casey doesn't know.
That's all right.
And that may be a stupid question. Like, Loic's done enough weird stuff that Gamel's like,
oh my god, that's the worst roll ever.
It's okay.
Oh.
You can't crit fail it's a 14.
Crit fail on
It's a 14.
check. 14. Okay. So here's what you know, because you've been playing with that cubic gate quite a bit lately. With the cubic gate, you've got two options of functionality. One, you can open up the gate and call and summon a person through if you have their name. That's one way, but you can't really pull water through by naming it in that method. The other option is to open a portal that will allow you to step into this new plane. However, the portal in that manner is typically one way. So you can step through it into another plane if you have the portal open, but it's much harder for something to return through the same portal.
You're talking about the plane shift version, right?
Yes.
As far as I understand it, there's not even a portal associated with plane shift.
Yeah.
So
it's only a one-way method in that regard. So for you to bring in the water, it would be almost impossible for you to do. There's possibilities, especially if you were to open the portal on that side in.
Well, but that's the question. If stepping through the portal, if Loic is under the ocean, if he's like just in the ocean and he plane shifts, is it just him or is it his immediate environment as well?
Plane shifting is people, it's creatures.
Yeah, it's just people.
But you just said you can open up a portal
to summon something through. Yeah, that's the gate spell. Yeah, that's the other.
Can we summon some water elementals through?
Not unless I know their names specifically. I don't think. I think elementals have names.
And that's difficult to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, H2O.
Jerry. Just call Jerry. There's got to be an elemental somewhere named Jerry.
But what kind of elemental is he?
That's a good point.
Could get a fire elemental, and you've just murdered an elemental without.
What I was gonna say is, okay, let's make a giant funnel, right? and then puncture, and then potentially, the object being a gravity pump sort of situation.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
It's not going to work at all.
Yep.
So that option is pretty much not possible.
These giants, these wretched creatures are taking dwarves as slaves. We need to make sure that they do not do this. Merely destroying their forge would not be satisfactory. We need to send them a message that they cannot go into the lands of the small folk and take them for their purposes. We need to kill them and send a message.
Okay, but we need the conch first. So we need to get the conch and then drop the mountain on their heads?
Surely it's easier to kill the giants than to drop the entire mountain.
I don't know. I don't know how many giants there are in here.
That's a good point.
And if we're going to systematically go through and just kill them one by one, I don't know. I think I'd rather drop the mountain.
Well, we could kill them maybe 4 by 4. Would that be more to your liking?
How about we look at what we have to work with? We don't even know what Iron Slab looks like inside. I can cast a spell to give us an idea, and we can see what we have to work with, if there are any giant pitfalls or hazards that we can just trick them into.
I was about to say, we need more information.
Okay.
So, which spell
how
are
are
you
you going to
thinking
do
of
this?
using?
Arcane Eye,
Okay.
which is the poor man's scrying.
As in as when you did when we were in the purple worm nest.
Yep. So, Loic, you've used this spell before. You know for a certainty that this spell, any sort of physical solid object will block the movement of this arcane eye. Currently, the door leading into Ironslag is still closed. You haven't opened it yet.
Oh, I thought we did force it open at
So
the end of
we
last
opened
episode.
it, and then
And
I've
they were
got
just standing there for a minute, and that's why I was like,
All
let's
right,
not
okay.
just stand here.
No, fair enough. That makes sense. Okay, so there is enough of a space so you can go in to see the place proper.
Okay, let's do it. That'll last for an hour, so whatever I can find in an hour.
Okay, so you push, you start creating the symbols and the patterns necessary to create this arcane eye, and you push your mental force into it so that you can now see Ironslag. The eye travels through the doorway, and you find yourself in the forges. In particular, you're in a long, huge corridor that's a good 60 foot wide, and it just moves from left to right. To the right, to the left, you can see out that there is some form of maybe a balcony that's just about 100 foot to your left, and then to the right you can see what looks like mining carts suspended off of a chain moving across the entryway to this other chamber.
I'm gonna go look
Where
at
would you like to go?
I'm gonna go look at the balcony.
Okay. So as you move further into the mines proper, the entire area is just lit with the golden light of the forges that have been working day in, day out. And through the little crack of the door, you guys had felt some of the heat coming through. Your arcane eye doesn't get affected by it at all. You move it off towards the west, and as he gets closer, he sees that this balcony leads out into a enormous chamber, good 150 foot high ceiling, which from your point is 100 foot above, and below 50 foot is the lower floor. You can see down in this enormous chamber there is a very large fire giant wielding an enormous hammer, who is lording over some ogres that seem to be moving very hot metal. As you see them moving, pulling them across the room, you can get a clearer image now of what they're actually doing with these hot pieces of metal. They are building an enormous construct. From where you're standing, you're viewing over this balcony, you can see two enormous cranes holding in place parts of this colossus. One of them is a golden arm with a huge greatsword in its hand. Another is a shield attached to another arm. And the head of this colossus is at the same height as your arcane eye. It is a huge thing. This enormous, either side of this enormous chamber, you can see more of those mine carts on this chain working in opposite directions. So you can tell that this mine cart track travels the entirety of this level, working its way anti-clockwise around the area. Far across the chamber is the other side of Iron Slag. Where would you like to go with this?
I'd like to, by way of through the construct, so I can get a glimpse up inside of it, if it looks safe. And then I'm going to try to follow the melted metal to see if I can find the smelter.
Would Loic be describing this as he's saying?
You will see him when he lay his eye on the construct for the first time. You're going to see his face just completely melt, and he's just going to be like, "Oh my God, it's beautiful. Do want?"
What's beautiful?
They have an enormous golem. It's like a fire giant's shield golem.
It's active?
Doesn't look like it. Looks like it's still being built.
Doesn't quite appear to be. But what you can see as your arcane eye gets a closer glimpse of this colossus is that it is it's a huge helmet with horns poking up, but in its face you can see in one eye there is an enormous shiny red ruby that is the most glorious piece of jewelry you've ever seen. The other eye is empty, but there's no way currently that you can see to get your arcane eye into the construct. It seems to be closed off completely.
Is the ruby giving off any kind of strange glistening effect or etherealness?
Not really. Not through your eye. You can't really see that. You can see that in the reflection there is a forge down in the corner of the room that is it's very old style kiln, effectively, but that's not where they're dragging the smelted metal from. They're actually dragging it down a long corridor. So you follow the path that these smelted bits of metal are coming from, and you can see clearer that far off to the western side, as far as you can go, and you figure it's as far as it does go because once again you see now the ring of mine carts moving their way slowly at the top of this new chamber, is an enormous set of forges. You've got 4 different kilns that are all burning and dropping liquid metal into this enormous pit that is then being fed into areas that are being smelted into shapes.
And that mine shaft, is that fire giant size?
So the room in here is fire giant sized. What you can see though is manning the actual kilns down here, the actual forges. Let me just double check. Yeah, you have you've got 4 different forges. Each of them have a fire giant up against them, pushing down on the billows, keeping the fires lit. These are very large fire giants. But looking above them, you can see another balcony, which is just about the same level as these mine carts. On that balcony are another 3 fire giants watching over the forges themselves. You turn your arcane eye to get a better view of the room, and you look south and you see a smaller fire giant standing over the balcony with something in his hands dangling, and you get closer to see it. It's actually a human. This giant is dangling a human by his feet over the melted metal.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so all the corridors in this room are giant-sized. In other words, there would be no
Everything
tunnel
is
for
giant-sized.
ogres and whatnot. Okay.
Yeah.
So I will relay everything now to my peoples, and meanwhile, as I'm talking and relaying everything, I'm going to be looking for a place that looks like the living area or the living quarters. Less business, more sleeping and stuff. I'm looking for
Okay,
Duchess.
so basically a building, an underground city that was built by dwarves, and there is no dwarf-sized passages. It's all giant-sized passages.
All of these seem to be giant-sized.
Well, when we visited Mithril Hall, the proportions were similar. So dwarves just build grandiose things.
It's big. From
By my
what you
count-
can tell right now, there are no actual living spaces nearby. This side of the forges are very much just the mechanical side of it. But that is just the west side. You didn't explore the east much. But you get a sense now from just the sheer size of this place and moving your eye everywhere, your eye is running out of time.
Okay.
How well defended was, or how many people were around the construct?
So the construct itself, you only saw Duke Salto and
Ogres.
a couple ogres.
Oh, so Zalto was there.
He looked like he was hefting some more expensive equipment than the other fire giants, so it might be Zalto, it might be a high-ranking lieutenant.
By my count, you have named 6 fire giants, 1 small fire giant, 2 ogres, and 1 human prisoner.
Very astute.
Sorry, in the other chamber, you said that there was manning. Was there a lot of other people manning machines? Was there more ogres or slaves there? Was there any slaves?
The smelter room?
Yeah, the smelting room.
That was just fire giants, right?
It was just fire
And it
giants.
was
The only
4
slave
on
that
the-
you saw was the one being tortured.
There were 4 on the bottom, 3 on the top. One of them was small.
I'm wondering if we can get any help here. I'm wondering if there's any other dwarves that may be stronger than the ones we've just found that we can
Can I
free and rally.
check to see if I could recognize that the smaller giant was potentially an adolescent?
Make a nature check. Okay, with a 22, you figure that due to his size and also his demeanor, the way that he's holding himself, it's a kid. It's a fire giant, but it's a kid. It's just a young adolescent child playing with this human. You almost didn't see any sort of like. He was literally playing with the human, not torturing, from the way that it looked.
And would there be any way to get to the smelter room that I could have seen besides going through the giant construct chamber?
The only method that you've seen currently is those mine carts that you saw circling the entire area. Circle at such a height that they're only viewable inside from this level. So if you were to make it around the balcony, could probably view into those mine carts, but everything underneath wouldn't.
Out of curiosity, those doors, they mentioned that Zolto had a wife who seemed to be doing a lot of the thingy. They didn't mention a child at all.
They didn't mention a child to you. The dwarves didn't.
I'm just wondering who the child is.
Well, I want to say it's Zolto's, because that would be mighty convenient for us. And if that is the case, perhaps he was kept out of the line of sight of the dwarves, because an enemy doesn't want other enemies to know that their offspring is located nearby.
Possibly.
So we kidnap the child and use him to get what we want.
Clever dwarf.
Well, it is only a plan to work if we do believe we will kill the child, or at least convince someone else that we will kill the child. I am very comfortable with deception, but I wonder, do we want to kill the child?
I've already killed one child this weekend.
I can potentially, if he's dumb, I could potentially bring him to our side for 8 hours or so.
If you want to control a creature, then maybe we should control one of the bigger ones.
Oh, or as opposed to what we think might be Zolto's kid? I don't know.
If you're going to control anything, I'd rather have something that's powerhouse on our side.
You could just use the kid to shield yourself. Be like, Zolto, no.
Can we gain any more information via your eye?
I don't know, DM, can we? I think it's running out. And you're muted.
Cool. The ice seems to be waning now a little bit. The last bit of information that you can gather is you start turning further towards the small fire giant, and you can see that at the same level as him is the corridor continues on with the mine shafts. You follow it, and you just catch glimpses of an enormous wheel being pushed around by dwarves and humans. And
Your mic dropped again.
You muted again.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
There you are.
Okay. Right.
and that's when the eye dies down and disappears, just as you catch a glimpse of it.
Aaron's curious about the gem, because Ty, as a player, thinks something. So Aaron, he wants does Aaron know anything? Has any of it come across any kind of constructs at any point in his life, while like being with Duan as a younger child, or having to do monster hunting as a thing? Would he know anything about constructs?
You can go ahead and roll in a history check to see what you may remember.
Let's roll the night, and it's bad. Nope, don't know anything about constructs.
Not really. Nothing that would give you any sort of information about why it would have a gem in its eye.
Okay. Why would it have a gem in its eye?
I pretty much know this. Do you want me to just share roll? I mean, I feel like I should since he rolled.
Go ahead and roll a history check. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm pretty sure it's a soul gem of some kind, right?
Something like that.
That's what I would call it. Containment unit for energy.
So that's the power source.
Maybe. It may be one power source. There may be another power source. I've never, ever seen a construct that big. If I was going to create one, I imagine I would have to have either an extremely potent engine like that, or I would need to have multiple engines.
Okay.
So it's a bucket for souls.
Energy. Not necessarily souls, but it would become the golem soul, technically, if you're gonna...
I see.
So to stop that thing becoming a big, huge threat on the world, we should remove the gem.
Mm-hmm. That's a sound.
As one priority. What is our second focus?
No,
we need to get the conch.
Priority is the conch.
Priority is the conch, but we can't let that thing get out of here. We need to take that gem with us as a priority. It's on the list of priorities. What are our other ones?
Bring back evidence to the king that the fire giants are no longer a threat.
It's not a priority. I don't give a crap if he thinks we've done what we've done or not. He's not. He didn't offer us anything for it. We're doing him a massive favor by clearing out this nest.
You've been hanging out with me for far too long, my friend. No, he's right.
We must put an end to the fire giants' reign in this area.
We must stop them from being a threat. Take that construct is the biggest threat. We need to disable that, or I would love to use it against them, but I have no idea how to even begin that. It doesn't. Loic seems to think, by the sounds of it, it's not even fully constructed yet, so it may not be completely enchanted yet either.
Well, it's certainly a threat, but they have been able to capture many slaves without its aid. So, while I agree, we should make sure that this device cannot be used. We can also kill all the giants and strike fear into their hearts.
So the way
I'd like everyone to roll perception checks.
We've taken too long to discuss things, and now there are consequences.
Is it a smell thing?
No.
Okay.
Smelly giants?
So what it sounds like to
Never
me
mind.
is that we start with the back room and work our way to the construct. Is that... Because if we get those dwarves, I've got the fort. We can arm them.
But the previous dwarves that we freed were in no condition to lend support.
Doesn't mean that they're all like that.
It's true, but counting on them not to be like that, I think is wishful thinking.
I'm thinking they're going to want revenge. but at their demise, at the cost of their demise, most probably.
We are in the best position to be the ones to bring hurt to the fire giants, and hurt we shall bring to them.
How? Because traditionally, that we haven't got the numbers to take on this entire city of giants. Especially now we've lost our healer.
At the present, we have counted merely 7 fire giants, one of which is a child, and none of them they're not all together. We can take them on in small numbers to ensure our greater favor, greater odds.
Means us being quiet, Camel.
Well, this is a very busy enterprise they have here. I imagine that when we get closer into where the fire giants are, there will be lots of noise to conceal our assault.
Loic, is there any way you can put Camel into some sort of globe of silence? I've seen it done.
I mean, I could just take off my chain shirt. I'm a pretty quiet guy if it's not for my armor.
I think he meant your musket.
Your guns.
Oh yeah, that's how's that going on that project I gave you to have the silencer?
I am maybe about. I am definitely less than a 10-day away from finishing my current project.
So the answer is we don't have one now.
No, correct.
Well, my question is, can we just put him in a silence?
No,
cloak?
because
The actual spell.
No, because I can't move it once I put it. It's not like I can.
Can you not place it on an object? Is it like darkness?
Only via enchantment.
Well, wants to kill giants anyway, and who am I to deny my blessed hammer of his life's purpose? So we can use that until we get caught, and then just go to town after that.
So we're gonna try to take on Zalto first, is what I'm hearing.
He had 2 ogres working with him, and your magical eye, when it went in, he was the first. He and the ogres were the first ones you encountered. Is that right?
Correct.
You're sure that's Zalto?
No. But I'm pretty sure. Or I'm confident there.
You guys have been adventuring enough to kind of figure the difference between a grunt and a leader. That he's giving off some images and visages of not a normal fire giant and definitely not a grunt.
Okay, we need to make sure these guys can't escape, which I'm looking at Loic for.
What am I gonna do?
Use your magical box to get us to another plane of existence?
Yeah, that'll keep them from escaping real nicely.
Well, that's not a terrible idea. Can you use it to teleport us all and them into a different plane?
No. 10 max.
But that's 4 plus 3.
Or considerably less now.
7.
Yeah. Well, okay,
7.
well, we have to be touching, and they can resist it.
But if everything goes to pot, as long as we can all get touching, you could get us out of here.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep.
Well, let's kick in this door and just see how things work out.
All right. So we know.
Is there a way?
My hammer says, yeah!
I'm not restricting them, or you said you could turn. Could you turn one of the ogres against him?
That'd be a little bit of a... I mean, I could, but why not just kill the ogre? It's just an ogre.
Right. If you could control, can we just control him?
Zalto, perhaps. Perhaps.
I'm kind of feeling if we assault Zolto, he's got 2 other henchmen that can flee and then bring a crap load of pain on us. Assaulting one guy on his own is fine. Trying to contain those 3, make sure that they don't flee or sound some alarm is how we should look at this.
Well, we could make sure that if they were to sound the alarm, none would answer the call by killing them. Kill them all.
You have a singular mind, my friend.
Okay, well, at least before you go killing Zalto, let me at least ask him where the conch is.
Well, we save him for last, obviously, in case he raises the alarm. We need to kill everyone else first.
Okay, so we are going to the back room first. And working our way to Zalto.
The back
We
room.
get rid of all the reinforcements.
Okay, so,
that way.
All right. So what we're going to want to do then is we're going to want to get to the gantry. And we're going to want to hop into one of the minecarts and cruise right past all their heads into through the smelter room and into the room with all the dwarves. Then we can get down and we can tend to whatever minimal security they have around there, and then we can work our way back through the smelter room and then to Zalto. Does that sound good?
How do we get in and out of the carts?
With our hands and feet, right? It's
I got the impression they were high above.
The gantry is all up here, and then the rest of the room is way down here, and the mine carts are up here, right? So,
Yeah, so
you'd be able to...
as soon as you got into, like, the arcane eye started looking into Einslag, you remember seeing that at basically eye level height, immediately to your right was those mine carts moving through.
And those go towards the ogres or away from the ogres?
It does a central circuit, and I think they were headed... It was all headed counterclockwise, I think, wasn't it? Okay, so we end up going the other direction first.
At some point, the carts will be interacted with. So if we were able to get into them, we would have to be concerned about who would be investigating the contents of the carts. If we were going to take the carts and ended up in front of Zalto, this would be counterproductive to our goals.
It was the smelter room in which they poured out, right? In which stuff was getting changed out. You're muted.
Aaron, I cannot hear you.
There we go. Headset decided to disconnect. So you didn't get a view of what they were doing with the carts to the east of you, from the east of the door that you came in. What you did, the only bit that you did see is that far off in that room with the smelting, the fire giants up on that gantry were using sticks effectively to tip whatever was inside of them down into the actual forges themselves.
So as far as I know, they don't get looked at or messed with until that room, which comes after the one that we'd be dismounting in.
As far as you know, yes.
Where
but if you remember, you want to go... if you join it on this side, you'll move around the room. You'll get to the north side. Then you'll move around to the west, where the smelting is. And then the actual room with all of the slaves is on the south.
Okay, so yeah, okay.
So
I said counterclockwise before. I had it in my head clockwise. That was my problem.
Okay.
Right. So never mind. It's the room before where we're going to get dumped out.
So I do not have a mind for tactics. I do have a mind for killing giants. And I do not wish to bite off more than I can chew. Therefore, direct me in the direction where I may kill some giants.
Let's follow Loic's plan about kind of sneaking in. If we get caught, briefly see if we can diplomatically get to the chieftain, and if there seems to be much resistance, let's just go to plan B and break stuff. Is that a plan?
Right. So
they are difficult to catch us.
In my head, we'd pass the chief first, and we have to pass him to go to the back room and the slaves.
You will pass above the chief, yes.
How far above the chief?
100 feet, many feet.
Okay,
So
we
many
don't want
feet.
to talk. Right. Did you see an exit strategy from these mine carts?
No, actually, none that they can't follow us through. I tried.
No,
looking.
I mean, you found a platform to get on. Did you find a platform to get off?
Oh no, and not necessarily. You can climb down some stuff, but it'll be a narrow escape. I was thinking you guys would jump out all awesome style like you do with your swords and just use your momentum to drive your weapon into the enemy. I'd be
Okay,
fine.
I'm thinking flying the magic carpet behind one of these carts very, very slowly and using its cover. Would they see it? If they're on the, I'm gathering this is on the like edges of all of the thingies. Would there be cover, Loic? From your memory, these
You'd
are
have
on
to
the
give it a
other
try.
edges. Would there be like, there's a wall, there's a cart. Could I be on this bit like floating? Would anybody see us? If I say to gamble on the magic carpet,
That's something I don't know. It depends on how well they're how perceptive they are individually. You're asking about personality traits now. I don't
It's
know.
been my
If
experience.
I'm asking if there's cover. If the area is dark and dim, is there
No, it's well
room to
lit.
be stealthy?
Everything's well lit.
Is
Everything's
it all well lit?
Yes, everything's on fire, pretty much. Not on fire, but there's molten lava everywhere, and everything's reflective and made out of metal. So
When working at a forge and designing things, I have found that too much planning leads to inferior craftsmanship.
right, I was going to
I
tell
think
you
we got a good plan. Let's go
I've
for it.
prepared Featherfall today, in case you guys jump out and are freaking out and are falling. So
The carpet seems like a good way to get out of the cart.
Can we lay down the carpet on the bottom of the cart and we all just climb into it? And then if we have
Do
to
that.
go,
let's do
I don't
that.
think we can't all fit on the carpet.
That's okay.
Me and Gamel, maybe. Loic can fly. And this big brute here, I don't know.
Or not, my friend. I will find a soft spot to land.
Okay.
Or you can come back for me with the carpet.
Okay. So you all make your way back through the tunnels, back where you would come, towards the door and the entrance. And straight away, immediately what you notice is that the door is closed.
Dang it! We don't have oil anymore to move it with.
I moved it.
You moved it with the help of 2 other people.
One person and I did all of it. I can move it again.
I think Gamel helped you last week push it open.
So go ahead and roll athletics checks to be able to.
Right.
I will assist as well.
I just want to check it now to see if anything's changed. Traps. Anybody's been concerned that it was open in the first place.
Go ahead and roll a perception check.
God damn.
From this side of the big, thick iron door, you can't hear or tell anything. You're fairly certain that there's nothing on this side of the door, so at least no one walked through to investigate the door being open, but someone must know that the door was opened because they forced it closed.
Okay.
Well, the only way into the store, we have to push it open again, right?
Yes.
Well, let's do that.
So I push it open again.
Aaron, go ahead and roll an athletics check. If anyone is helping him and they are proficient in athletics, it'll give him advantage.
I
You have my assistance.
really don't want to do this with the bloody thing because this is rolling terrible tonight. There you go.
Okay. So you push And it takes quite a bit of effort, but once again, you manage to get it to slide open ever so slightly. But this time, because of the sheer weight of and the amount of effort you could put behind it, the door moves slowly enough that it's grinding along the ground, and you hear it moving across the stone. How loud that was, or whether or not someone nearby heard it, you don't know. But it was fairly loud.
Damn. All right. Well, can we peek in and have a look and see where there's cover?
Okay. So immediately as you look through, you can see what the eye had told you before. You have this enormous corridor before you, with the balcony off to the far left, and you can see to the far right that there is another room, which from this vantage point you can see the mine carts moving their way across the room slowly.
Okay. So, sorry, is that a thin corridor with like pillars on it that we could like hide behind, or is it dark and
like,
well lit, or smooth?
You're stepping through a door, and the other side of the corridor that this door opens into is 60 foot away from you. You are coming in perpendicular to the corridor, and it is all well lit. There is plenty of light coming from all of the rooms around. Now you can see that there are sconces that are keeping the entire place clearly seen, but there are no pillars and nothing to hide behind per se.
Okay. Should we
just
close
around
the door?
corners.
Should we close the door behind us?
Yeah.
Let's close the door behind us.
Okay. So after you all step through, you shove the door back into place. No problem. This time it's a lot easier, maybe even a little bit quieter. So you have before you the choice, left or right, towards the balcony or towards the room where you saw the minecarts.
To the minecarts.
That was the plan.
Okay.
Sneakily.
So I'm going to pull you guys over to the map. Bear with me for a second while I pull you to the right position.
So, as a player, clarifying rules here. Officially, if we've got no shadows to play with, we can't be stealthy.
You can be stealthy, you can walk quietly, but you can't be stealthy from, like, if someone's looking at you, you don't really have much to hide behind. But if people are through doors, around corners, by all means, you walk quietly, you're not going to make much noise. Stealth is more than just sight, it's also sound.
Okay, I will cast Pass Without Trace.
Okay, so stealth checks from everyone, please. And we will add a +10 bonus to your stealth checks if you are within 30 feet of Aaron. So a 27 from Loic, 16 from Gamel, 25 from Artir, and Aaron
32.
is a 29. Oh, advantage?
Yeah.
Okay,
Fine.
32.
Fine.
Quietly, you make your way down the corridor. Can you see yourselves on the map? Okay,
Yes.
cool. So what you can see from your vantage point as you get closer towards this large room, the minecarts are huge. You could easily fit one person, maybe two, inside these minecarts as they're making their way. But now that you're getting closer, you can actually see some creatures inside this room that are manipulating those minecarts. You can just catch a glimpse that there are some ogres working these minecarts. They're all actually unloading something from each of these minecarts. So the carts come into the room from the south, filled with some form of rock. These ogres then pull everything out onto a larger slab that's on the other side of the minecarts. They sort through it all, and then they shove stuff back in. Overlooking all of them, you can see a couple fire giants working their way. You probably have a couple ogres and 2 fire giants who, as of right now, can't see you, haven't seen you, haven't heard you, but you can hear now clearer. The sounds in the entire forge is pretty loud. It's going to be difficult for you guys to be noticed just walking. What would you like to do?
So these ogres are different than the ogres who were with the hammered fire giant?
Yes. They look the same, but they are different personages.
Do they look like they are willing participants or under duress? Do they look malnourished for ogres?
Roll an insight check. You don't see anything about their demeanor that should suggest that they are doing it against their will. They don't look manacled, they don't look aggressive towards their action. They're just mindless, doing what they know.
Okay.
The nearest one, as it's lifting stuff out of the cart onto the floor, you can see it just tearing through this rock, distracted, shifts stuff back in.
If we mean to get these carts, then we must deal with these creatures first, which is in line with our overall goal in thinning out the ranks. Shall we kill these giant creatures?
If we kill them, then someone's going to notice that productivity has ceased in this area at some stage, and will come to investigate.
Then they'll send a couple people to investigate, and then we take them out too. We thin their ranks one by one, instead of having an entire crowd come at us at once.
Okay, so
The ogre that you can see from your vantage point puts the rocks back in, stands, and then turns towards the corridor where you guys are coming through. He sees the 4 of you, straight on, stood right next to each other, walking along the corridor.
I throw my hammer. Well, I step forward 10 feet, and then I throw my hammer.
I'd like everyone to roll initiative. You will get... Well, we'll see what happens.
Gamel is way too quick to just shoot stuff or throw things.
Or is he the perfect right amount for our group?
Who knows?
Okay.
So is there... Yes, is there any sort of surprise round, or do I get to throw my hammer, or are we just going to go in initiative order?
He saw you before you acted, and at the same time as you throwing it is when he's going to do his actions. And since all of this happens in one turn, Loic, you get to act quicker than Gamel. What do you do as you see him turn around?
I'm going to go for the fire giant first, because he's going to be more of a threat.
Okay.
So I will move my full 30 feet to here, being super daring.
All right, right into the open. You step through and you can see now clearer all of them in view.
Okay, then I'm going
What are you going to do?
cast Psychic Disruption, Distracting Haze on the fire giant. So he needs to make an intelligence saving throw, and he needs to beat 17.
Okay. He fails. What happens to him?
He takes 1d10 psychic damage, 10 psychic damage,
Nice.
then he becomes blinded beyond 10 feet. And this is concentration.
Okay, cool. So that fire giant holding a huge greatsword, you just see his eyes flicker for a moment and his head just start turning. All right.
And then I'm actually going to Misty Step back 30 feet.
All right. So, Gamel, you saw him pop through, step forward, cast the spell, pop out of existence, and go back. In response, that ogre that had turned was a little bit quicker. He shouts out in which language?
He shouts out.
Oh, you mean it again.
You just went quiet.
Shouts out. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
No, he doesn't. He shouts out in giant, not common. You guys speak giant? How many of you speak giant?
My hammer speaks giant.
So the hammer translates to you telepathically that he shouts, "Intruders to the door," as he makes his way towards you.
Where is that music coming from? Just
Coming from me. Is it too loud?
okay. Titch. More importantly, I'm glad to know that it's intentional.
Yes, it is. So, he's got a movement of 40 feet. Okay. So he doesn't quite get right up to you in his turn. So instead of, as he steps forward, you see him pull up his great club and start almost looking like he's preparing for something. Gamel, this is when you get to act.
All right, I'm going to throw my hammer at him, because that's how we do. Boo. I am rolling awfully today. This is not a great day for me.
Whelm soars through the air, and maybe he's just a little too excited, but he flies wide and misses. Back to your hand.
Throw him again.
This time, as you throw him again, you do actually collide with the ogre. Actually, retcon that. First one would have hit as well. The 11
Woo!
hits. So the first one
Ogre?
hits the creature. Second one comes in with another hit solidly in the same spot. So
To be clear, I rolled a 3 to get that 11, so that's good.
12 plus 11 points, so you got 23 points of bludgeoning damage. Right. Repeated shots quickly. Whelm is excited as he's hitting this thing. Anything else from you, Gamel?
Oh, I'll step over to there, just so I have a better view, and then I'll be done.
Okay.
DM, are the ogres classified as giants?
Yes, they are.
Oh, in that case, I need
Gamel
to
does.
re-roll my damage then, because that was all non-giant damage. So do you mind if I just re-roll the attack? And I'll say that it's yes to giants. And
Go ahead.
oh, there's an extra 1 damage for the first attack. Ooh, significantly more damage for the second.
All right, so an extra 13 points on the second one. Okay.
That's
So with both of those hits, very powerful shots, you see the ogre starts bleeding profusely. He just coughs a huge amount of blood out of his mouth after these two heavy attacks. Aaron, you're up.
He's looking weak.
He's looking weak.
Alright, Aaron will move 1, 2, 3, 4 to there. Drawing the blade while he does it. He's going to go for a low blow on the back of the thigh, and follow up down with another attack for the thing. So first attack.
Before you get your first attack in, as you saw he had lifted up his great club, you came right into to his position. He swings for you.
Oh, I can do that.
And misses terribly.
Yay! I duck. And I cut that. Do you know what? If his AC's got to be 11, I'm quite weapon master in this.
Okay. So, with determination and focus, you swing Terminus, and you do cut deeply into this ogre's neck. And as Terminus slides in, he carves enough.
It's gone again. Goddamn knife.
Carves enough flesh out of the neck that the ogre falls dead before you. With
I always hate it when I've only got one attack. Okay, I haven't got another attack to do. So, Aaron will then... He's got one more square of movement to there.
Mm-hmm. Quickly.
I use a bonus action to Hunter's Mark this giant over in the corner. That one, because this one's blinded, isn't it? The top one. He looks good. My eyes.
Right. Cool. Ben, Artir, on you.
To clarify the giant blindness, is he can see within 10 feet of him? Is that right?
Yes, but it goes fuzzy and then just black after about 10 feet. However, I'm assuming Loic would have had to tell you that he is now blinded.
That's true. And
So,
this...
Loic, as you cast the spell, would you have informed everyone that that giant off in the distance is now blind?
Muted. Still muted.
Oh my god, it's infectious.
Can't hear you.
Since you sat next to her, what did she say?
There's a door closed, so we don't have any audio. So
Oh, okay.
I have no idea what you're saying.
Loic has clearly been hit with a silence spell.
Thumb up for yes, you told him. Thumb down for no, you didn't. Thumb up. Okay. So that's fine by me. That she would have said, okay, I'm casting this spell. You would have heard it. So you know that this giant is blinded past 10 feet.
Okay. And this thing on the map, is that a raised area or a lowered area?
It is raised. You can see that that's where they've been putting all of the rubbish that's in these carts and sorting through it and then putting everything back up.
So am I able to see this ogre?
Mm-hmm. Quite clearly. The only times you can't is when a crate moves past your face. And they're moving not at a quick pace, it's actually a relatively slow movement.
Okay. I'm going to use my 30 feet of movement to get over there. Oh, and that affords me a new vantage to see other foes.
Yes. As you push around the corner, you can see clearer that there are quite a few more combatants waiting to join the fray.
So I reach out, or I yell out, "There is an ogre right around the corner, and a fire giant not too far behind him." And I will... I suppose I have line of sight on this guy?
Mm-hmm. Yes, you do.
Okay. Well, then I will fire 3 Eldritch Blasts at that guy.
Okay. Okay.
For 4, 8, and 9. Oh, wait. And he
roll
rolls.
the attack.
Why? Spell card. Attack.
Okay, so the first one hits. Second one hits. Third one also hits. So as these blasts of energy just soar through the air and send ripples behind them, you do deal a nice chunk of force damage.
And that will end my turn.
Okay. As the force kept colliding with the giant, you saw him get knocked back a couple times, but then he focuses his attention back on you. His friend steps up onto the rubbish that's before him and makes his way forward, using all of his movement to charge towards you. That's all he does. But as he does so, you see him pull out his great club. The fire giant that is blinded, Loic, does he get the opportunity to save from that blindness at the end of his turn?
Yes or no? Just give us a thumbs up or thumbs down. I can't hear you.
Okay.
Oh, he wants to know if the giant gets an opportunity to re-save at the beginning of his turn or end of his turn. Nope. No giant saves.
Well, he's gone.
I'm still here.
Everyone's been hit
Figure
by
out why
silent
this
spells.
Problems. Cool. So he makes his way blindly towards you all, hoping to figure out what's going on. But then you see him last minute just start veering off because he can't see where he's going. Off to the north. His friend, however, who can see, charges forward. Let's see how much movement he has. 30 foot. Okay. So he gets to there. The end of his turn. That's it for them. This ogre, however, will step up 30 feet, pull out a javelin, and will launch it at Loic. So I have a 19 to hit Loic.
Hits.
Hits. Okay. As the javelin embeds itself into Loic's flesh, he takes a measly 7 points of piercing damage. I need Loic to roll a concentration check. How you doing, Casey? Not so good. Okay. Right. Casey, do you need to take a break to sort out your stuff? All right. Well, folks that may be watching, we're going to have to take a quick 15-minute technical break. We will be back in 15 minutes. So stay tuned for the battles that are ensuing. Okay? Thank you.
Ooh, that's not who else. That's Marines.
All right. Welcome back. Thanks for bearing with us while we had those technical issues. Hopefully they've been sorted out and we will be back up to our normal running selves. So we are right in the thick of things. The ogres and the fire giants are aggressive. One fire giant, the one that seems to be blind past 10 foot, started heading towards the group before moving along the wall away from the party. And we ended we had a break just before I had the ogre had launched a javelin at Loic, which did hit, dealing 7 points of piercing damage, and I need Loic to roll a concentration check. So a constitution saving throw, please. Okay. The 11 does save. You do manage to keep control over the spell. And at the end of that, it is your turn again, Loic.
Which one just
Top of the
attacked
round.
me?
The fella that is now in view.
Okay, well, I'm gonna do one back at him, and we'll just keep that giant blind and throw a firebolt.
Oh,
Okay.
FYI, the giant that's near you is not the blind one.
Oh, where'd the
The
blind
giant
one go?
that is blind he walked towards you, got to a point where he could see the wall, and started walking north away from you.
Okay. All right. I'm still gonna go for the ogre then. Let's get these guys taken care of.
Okay. So you launch that firebolt and it collides with the ogre's shoulder. Go ahead and roll the damage.
Ooh, 2 1s.
Really?
Ugh.
Oh,
2 1s and a 5. Sorry.
these dice are not being very nice to us lately.
The flame just sort of dissipates as it singes a little bit of its flesh, but didn't do much damage.
Run away!
Anything else from the Loic?
Run away!
Okay. Alright. Well, that ogre's dead. Come back. Gamel.
I am going to step up a little bit just to get a better view here. And then, let's see. Yeah, I'll throw Whelm at the ogre. That's our tier is engaging right now.
Okay.
Just because that seems like a good idea.
It collides with him. These are giants, right? Yep.
Yes, they are.
Wow. Okay. First attack hits.
3d8, but I
Second
rolled
one-
ones on 2 of them.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the second throw goes wide, barely misses Artier's head.
I kind of think like Aaron's like there's like a setting for like dice rolls on like DMs or something, and you just put it down to hard, and then you up it down when we want to.
That'd be a neat
Anything else
feature.
from you, Gamel?
No, that's all for me.
All right, cool. Then Aaron.
I feel like this is going to be a long slog. I don't want to waste stuff. Aaron's gonna step back a few paces, and he's going to turn into hybrid.
Okay. So, looking in deep within yourself, you grab the powerful energy of the lycanthrope that you are. You start to stretch and push out your clothing, which has been specially adjusted so that it will stretch with you. And you now, in the half-elf bear hybrid form, stand there in the open. Anything else?
That is my turn, because that's a full action to do that.
Then Artier.
I will rage, and I will use my great weapon master to attack the ogre in front of me.
Okay.
And I will do so recklessly to give myself advantage.
Good solid swings. The first one hits with a 20. Second one with a 22 also comes in and carves through his flesh. Go ahead and roll the damage on both of those.
$26 points of damage and 27 points of damage. 2 26s.
As the second swing comes in, the heavy, bulky weight of the ogre slumps down. Also slain.
And I will use my movement to lure the giant figures farther into this room we are in. And end my turn.
All right. The fire giant that is blinded will continue moving along the wall as far as he can go. Completely out of view. However, his friend, now able to get involved, will move forward 40 feet. See the human, the half-elf bear hybrid, and will decide to charge forward. Actually, how far away is he from Gamel?
No, I roar.
You draw his attention.
Yeah. Woo!
That Bugs Bunny style.
Show him a little bear leg. Hey.
All right. He launches straight towards you, running now at full pace. Instead of attacking, I need you, Aaron, to roll me a strength saving throw.
Does he provoke an OA as he runs right by me?
Yes, if you're wielding a melee weapon.
I am.
You are.
Oh, well.
Melee.
Two-handed.
Let's do that first then.
Okay. No, he's actually still in melee range when he hits Aaron.
Okay.
5 feet, sorry. Aaron, go ahead and roll me a strength saving throw, please. As the fire giant barrels into you.
Not good enough.
He knocks into you and you fall prone on the floor. And he just looks down at you. That's it for him. The ogre that was here will charge forward towards Artir, and another javelin out. Throw. That's a 15 to hit, so that's going to miss.
I dodge.
Yeah. Loic. What do? Aaron is in bear hybrid form, prone on the ground. There's a fire giant stood above him, and there's an ogre that's moving towards Artir.
Despite the fact I haven't engaged the fire giant, if I stepped away, I'd still have to properly disengage, right?
Yes, because you're within melee range of him.
Yep, I'm gonna do that.
Okay, so you use your action to disengage.
Mm-hmm.
So focusing on making sure that you stick away from him, you jump out of the way.
Yep.
All right. Anything else?
That's all I got.
All right. Gamel.
Gamel is going to step back. 5 foot step back. Actually, he's going to come up here by our tier. And then he's going to swing, throw whelm at the ogre.
So as you step out of melee range with the fire giant, he is going to swing his greatsword in an attack of opportunity.
I laugh
That's
at
a
him.
natural 20.
Whatever.
You can confirm it. Feel sorry. So he normally deals 66. That's doubled.
I've been rolling really poorly. It makes sense that he would roll really well. I offended luck this week, apparently. I don't like what your eyes are looking like. It's fine. I'm at full health. He can't kill me outright with one hit. We're fine.
You take 49 points of slashing damage.
49 points. All right. Well, let's just call it 50. It says 41, 42. All right. Yeah, that leaves me with 42. I'm fine.
All right. So you're attacking the ogre, is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Although, now that I've been hit stepping away, I changed my mind. I'm going to hit the. I'm going to throw it at the giant who just smacked me around pretty bad.
Okay, so you connect with his armor. 17 points of bludgeoning damage.
And do it again. Gosh, dang it. My weapon's so bad.
Unfortunately, the second hit goes wide. And
All right, that'll...
Yeah.
He'll curse loudly in Dwarvish at the giant, and he'll tell Whelm to just hurl obscenities at him in giant, and that'll be it.
Okay. Whelm makes a point not to translate the obscenities that he shouts at the giant to you. So you don't.
No, that's right. I don't need a translation. Just go for it, Whelm.
Yeah. Go for it. All right.
Talk about his mother. Talk about his pet. Talk about like his childhood. Like cut him deep emotionally, not just the normal stuff. Like tell him his mother didn't love him, something like that.
Aaron, you're up.
Hells, that looked painful. Aaron's getting up.
Okay.
I am going to lay some hurt on this guy. I haven't got advantage, so I'm going to do normal attacks on him.
Right, I need you to move back ever so slightly just so that you're not actually on top of it. So go ahead and make the attack.
Oh, God, I wish I had advantage.
Yeah. But as you're standing up, you come and you swing Terminus up into a nice, huge arc. You do cut through his armor. You manage to hurt him.
That's a 9. He's already damaged, is he not? So
Yes, he is.
6. I hunter's marked him. Okay.
Did you hunters mark him or the one that was blinded?
No, hunter marked him.
Okay. Cool. Anything else? Is that your first attack?
That's my first attack. Second attack.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Second attack. Whether it was just throwing yourself off balance with the first one, when you come down, you don't bring it with enough force to be able to get through the armor.
Well, you know what? I'm not staying around here, so I've still got movement. So 1, 2, 3. So 3 movement to there, and then I'm going to use a dash action. Oh, no, it's half movement, so I've got 20, so it's there. And I'm going to use a dash action as my bonus action.
Yep, go ahead.
To 1, 3, 4, and get behind this guy.
Okay. Since the fire giant had already used his reaction, he doesn't get to do so this time. All right. Anything else from you, Aaron? All right. We move to Artir.
I will close with the ogre and swing my sword at him twice.
Okay, now you have advantage because Aaron is in a flanking position with him. Go ahead and swing.
That should have been with advantage. So roll that one again, and then take
22 hits.
22 and an 18.
Both attacks hit their mark exactly where they need to.
For 26 and 28 points of damage.
And third time's the charm, you fell, the third ogre, now making a nice neat row of bodies as they're all just slumped down, creating this mass of flesh.
I will use the rest of my movement to close with the fire giant.
Okay.
And because of Great Weapon Master, I have a third attack, which I can use as my bonus. And I will swing recklessly at this guy.
Okay, so go ahead and swing recklessly.
For 21.
That was a reckless attack, but you did manage to hit.
For 24 damage.
All right. You cut deep into his flesh. He starts to drip blood from his wounds. Anything else from you, Artir?
I will end my turn.
Okay. Well, the fire giant that is blinded will continue moving his turn. Loic, since you are closest, I need you to roll a perception check for me. See if it's higher than 16. Okay, so 16 is your passive, so we'll just take the 16. You hear what sounds like a giant shouting, but you can't quite make out what he says, unfortunately. The other fire giant turns around to look at the barbarian that had just recklessly attacked him, and with both hands on his greatsword, will swing to attack you. He will make 2 attacks, both with advantage because you recklessly attacked him. First attack will be a 26 to hit.
He hits.
Okay. The second attack is a 29 to hit.
Also
That will also hit. Okay. So you're raging, correct?
Jace.
Okay. So it will be halved down for you, as it is slashing damage. So the first attack, 29 points of slashing damage, halved down to 14. The second attack is 21 points of slashing damage, halved down to 10. And as he carves into you with his greatsword, he shouts at you in Giant. Do you speak Giant?
I do not.
Okay.
But Whelm does.
Gamel,
He hears it.
Whelm hears it. Whelm translates. You know and understand that he's... what he says to Artir is, when the Duke gets you, you will wish you were never born. All right. Ogre is dead. Loic, top of the round. Back up to you.
Ray of Frost on the fire giant.
Okay.
Haha! Crit.
That is a perfect shot.
Ooh.
While he's gloating to Artir. Oh,
Look at all those high numbers.
pretty nice. His armor just starts to take on a frosty tint as you start freezing him up. It's a powerful shot.
How's he looking after that?
He's looking pretty beat up, pretty slow at this point.
Yes,
He's in
by
a
the
lot of
way,
pain.
speaking of slow, Ray of Frost does, if they...
Slow his speed, yep. So it cuts their speed in half, or just slows it by 10 foot?
Slows it by 10.
Slows it by 10. Okay, cool.
That's it.
Anything else? All right. Then Gamel.
Just gonna more of the same. Throw his hammer at him. Gosh, cannot. Truly, this is just not going well. The dice roll here. Okay, second time.
It hit. The first attack does hit his armor, but it just kind of bounces off. Whelm, quite annoyed by that fact, hits even harder the second time. 21 points of bludgeoning.
And he'll move over towards the wall.
Okay, Aaron.
All right, Aaron. I'm going to use my bonus action to dash back behind the giant, and now I'm flanking. I am going to Great Weapon Master and try and lay into this guy from behind.
Okay.
Oh, right.
Unfortunately, you miss.
Fucking miles.
Something about the way you were running. The ground slipped a little bit, and you just missed your mark. Go ahead and make your second attack.
23.
Correcting yourself, you do actually hit with the second attack. Go ahead and roll the damage.
Four, plus this, this will be a 1.
Alright. The fire giant looks really weak now as that attack cuts a deep gash in his armor.
I'm finish him!
Altair, you are up.
I will use my Great Weapon Master and attack him twice
Okay.
with an 18 and a 10.
Okay. The first attack does hit. The second attack doesn't, unfortunately.
For 26 points of damage.
Alright. How do you want to do this?
As he is dealing with the masterful cuts of Bear Aaron, I run up behind him and I jam my greatsword into his spine and drag down.
Okay. As your greatsword cuts through, you have to pull it a couple times as it hits into the armor, different chinks, and you rip down his huge plate armor and cut deeper and deeper. He falls to the ground, limp on the floor.
We must get to the other one.
I will use my movement to move 30 feet towards the other one. And I will end my turn.
Alright. On that fire giant's turn, you guys don't really know what he does, but Loic, since you're close, and in fact, Aaron, you're pretty much close enough, I need you both to roll perception checks for me.
What is with the dice? How's the setting off?
Fair enough. Alright. Then...
Passive. We're both 15, aren't we?
Yeah. You hear shouting again, but it's not audible enough to be able to hear. Although this time you are pretty sure you heard two different voices. Both of you are. The guy is now dead. Loic, the sounds were coming from the west.
I am going to spend a 4th level spell slot turning everyone invisible except for I don't know who wants to be unlucky. We'll go with
Roll a D3.
No, yeah, I'm gonna go with Aaron.
Okay.
Just because
So
I've
immediately,
been with him longer.
that's going to drop the concentration on the blindness spell, right?
Yeah, but he's already alerted everybody, so whatever. So long as most of us can get the drop on the next wave.
Alright. Then everyone else immediately disappears from view, Aaron. You assume it's probably Loic. Gamel, you are now invisible. What would you like to do?
Can I see Artir or Loic?
Nope.
But just Aaron.
Just Aaron.
Can I see myself? Or do I look at my hands and there's nothing there?
Can't see anything.
On my turn, if it's alright, I would have telepathically informed them that people are coming if they didn't already hear it.
Would Loic include anything about I'm making you invisible? For the people who have never been turned invisible before.
He actually thinks you're smart enough to piece it together yourself. He has great faith in Gamel.
Can I roll an insight check to see if I know what's happening?
Go ahead and roll an insight check. Let's see how well you figure it out. Okay.
Gamel is very insightful.
Sure. Yeah, the situation that you know of already is one fire giant, instead of getting involved, ran away. And now Loic is saying there's more people coming. You suddenly turn invisible. It's probably a defensive strategy.
Okay, this is... I'm going to move... these carts are... How high are these carts?
In terms of height off the ground, the bottom of the cart is about 4 foot off the ground.
So you can't hide behind them
themselves are about... No, you can't.
How about these giant bodies? Are they big enough?
You could hide behind them, yep. Especially since you're invisible.
Right. Oh, I am invisible. That's an excellent point. You know what? I'm just going to step back here. I think that's 30 foot. I'm just going to step back there, and I'm going to draw my musket, which has a range of like 400. And the second I see anything, I'm going to shoot it.
Okay. I need you to roll me a stealth check. With advantage, because you are invisible.
A stealth check for being invisible? All right.
It's how quiet you can be while you're invisible.
Oh, I see.
So, Artir, as you don't see Gamel move past you, but you are absolutely certain he did, as you hear his heavy booted steps moving past you towards the opening into the room. Aaron.
Did Aaron hear his heavy booted steps?
Yes, you're pretty sure you heard that.
Gamel is not a stealthy fellow.
Like Aaron's really like looking behind. Loic's not there. Aaron was not there, and he's gonna be like, "Okay, you forgot me, or they shifted without me, or you're still here." Being that the carts are more the objective, I'm gonna run towards the carts. 2, 3, 4. I'm going to take my full movement. Actually, I'm going to end up somewhere behind here. So I'm going to just run around the corner. It didn't look impressive. But...
Okay. Then Artir, what would you like to do?
So I get the impression from Loic that there are enemies approaching from the west.
Absolutely. Well, yes.
And I am invisible.
Yes, you are.
And okay, I will use my movement to stand by the giant, assuming that whoever comes will be investigating the giant.
Okay. Cool. Then High Giant will move.
Oh,
He
and
will step out. Oh, go ahead.
So I will hold my action if an enemy comes within range, within melee range, I will attack him.
Okay. Fair enough. Then the Fire Giant steps around the corner. Gamel, you can see him.
Hold on. Let me check something. So I zoomed out my map, and I noticed from where I'm standing, I can see someone on the absolute left end of the map, but I cannot tell how many feet away that is, because to zoom out that far, I can't see the foot on my measuring stick.
I
said I'd shoot the first thing I could see.
Can't see it.
I physically cannot tell how many feet away that is, but the musket has a crazy range. It goes up to 800 feet. So I said I'd shoot the first thing I can see. If that guy's within 800 feet, I need to shoot him.
He's not within 800 feet. Oh, well, he's about 600 foot, but you can't see clearly enough down that far to really consider him to be a threat. You shouldn't be able to see that.
All right. Well, then I'll shoot this giant who just came around the corner. Let's get to the oh my gosh.
Taking the attack action while you're invisible, you become visible.
Oh gosh.
And in that moment when you become visible, you see the end of your musket just explode. A loud ring. It's a misfire. Your weapon is
I need to.
damaged.
Yeah, we'll get to that next round. Oh gosh. Should use
then-
your grip.
Since you, he stepped out, you fired, he stopped moving. He reaches into the cart next to him, pulls out a huge rock, and we'll just throw it towards you, Gamel. He has disadvantage on the attack because it's so far away.
Die.
You're lucky he has disadvantage because that was a crit. So it's a 21 to hit.
Oh, that'll hit.
Did you? All right. Cool. Then as this big boulder collides with you, you will take...
That sounds like so much dice you're rolling.
You take 20 points of bludgeoning damage.
Oh gosh. All right.
Of his turn. Loic, what would you like to do in your current position? By now, actually, at the top of this round, you all see that the minecarts come to a shuddering stop.
I don't think I said plan.
What would you like to do, Loic?
I know that Zalto's coming. I know that we've made a racket, and he's just shut everything down. We cannot be here when they find us. They're going to come from all corners, and we're going to get surrounded, and we're going to die. So I am going to enact escape plan and attempt to get us all to reconvene in a little while. We'll have less giants to deal with generally, so I'll telepathically tell everyone what my plan is and tell them all to get to me as fast as possible. You have to be there and there. Okay. So I will take a dash action and be right about there.
What do you telepathically say to them?
Time for plan C. Cubic gate. Meet me in the middle, next to our tier. Zalto's coming.
Our tier's invisible.
Like's invisible.
And Loic has true sight, which allows him to see invisible things. So Loic can see you.
I don't have true sight, but I do have.
No, you don't have true sight? No, yeah, you can see invisible stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. So that's it for Loic. Gamel, you get a sense telepathically that you know exactly where you need to go. What do you do? Well, on your waist, he's thinking, hey, the musket didn't work out. Come on, I'm serving you so well. We can do this.
Yeah. Yes, we can. Okay, so he's gonna move over there, and the first thing he sees, he's gonna throw his hammer at it. The first thing he sees is within 60 feet. But he is gonna say, he's following Loic's plan, but he says, I think we've got this. I'm not ready to go yet. I think let's just bunch up a little bit, and I'm not ready to go yet.
If it was just the one fire giant, yeah, Zalto's coming.
Well, sure. So let's kill the one giant, and then when Zalto shows up, we jump out. But that's all I've probably got time to say.
Okay, Aaron, you got the same message.
Also, there's a Duke coming. You might not know that. Whelm told me. A Duke is coming, and we'll all be sorry. Or he'll be sorry.
Aaron, you're fairly certain that you know exactly where Loic is that he wants you to get there. What are you going to do?
Kind of begrudgingly. As we're on the same thing, I'm going to run around to Loic and I'm like, I agree with the dwarf. Let's kill a few things and then make an escape. If we can weaken them and then depart, maybe we should do that. And that's kind of my thing. And then I'm going to cast Cure Wounds at 2nd level on Gamel.
You can't see him.
Yeah, I can. He shot his weapon.
I shot my
No,
weapon.
no, sorry.
That's why a
Sorry,
giant threw a rock at my face.
Yeah, no, sorry. So yeah, you cast Cure Wounds on him.
Oh
How much
God,
healing?
my Cure Wounds isn't working. Yeah, for some reason I forgot to fix that last week.
Right.
2d8 plus 1. 10 points.
Okay, so 10 points of healing energy course through your veins, Gamel. Arte. They're grouping together. What would you like to do?
I will move to take a flanking position for when the giant turns around the corner. And if he gets into melee range, I will stab him viciously.
Okay. Then on the giant's turn, he will use all of his movement to get to there.
Throw a hammer at him. Rawr.
Top of the round, Loic.
Do I get
Back
to
up
do
to
my
you.
prepared action to chuck
Oh,
a
yeah.
hammer at him?
You can, because you saw him. Go ahead and fire. $17 is not going to cut it.
Oh my gosh.
Whelm goes, doesn't do enough. You
Do
swear
I get
you hear
advantage?
him,
Do I get advantage against giants?
You don't get advantage against
I
him.
don't know. All right.
All right, Loic, what are you doing?
Well, the lads want to rip this giant apart, and I don't want to drop my invisibility because, again, I know Zalto is coming. So I will let them have their fun and simply drop way back to right around there. And just stay
Okay.
invisible.
Cool. Then, at the end of your turn, Aaron.
It's Gamel's turn. Don't know what happened.
Gamel.
He was always in front of me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna whip out my pistol. No. Well, you deserve this. You got this. Come on, man. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
Oh no. All right. Well, you've had your shot. I'm gonna whip out my pistol. And use yeah. I'm gonna whip out my pistol. Use a grit point to get advantage. And I roll exactly. You know what? We're whipping off shots. I'm gonna use my action surge to shoot twice more with this pistol. We're just gonna whip this off. I'm using grit points each time, by the way. Okay, finally.
Your first
Four
shot misses.
attacks.
Second shot misses. You come round with the last one. Come on. Boom, you do hit. You take
I
17
want
points
to
of
clarify
piercing
for
damage.
anyone looking out there, those last two rolls with advantage, I rolled nat ones on both of those rolls. If it weren't for advantage, that'd be anyway.
Your pistol would have been broke.
Yeah.
So this last shot hits and embeds itself into the plate armor. It did some damage to the giant, but not much,
Not a lot.
considering. Aaron,
And I'm going to use my move action to hide behind Aaron.
you hide behind the large hybrid creature. Aaron, what you doing?
I wonder where my shield's gone. I'm going to charge forward. And I'm going to slash at this guy. Normal hits, because they're quite tanky. I'll move my
Hunter's mark over.
Hunter's mark over to this guy.
Bonus action to move your Hunter's mark over. Focusing on him, go ahead and roll the attacks.
19 hits.
That will hit, yep.
So that plus, is he taking damage already? So Colossus Slayer, that's nice. Plus Hunter's Mark. Okay, second attack. $22. Oh no, no.
Have advantage on it. So second attack didn't hit.
What's wrong with these bloody rolls today? I'm going to blow my action surge as well because we need to take this guy down. So, 20.
20 will hit.
Okay, so 15. I'm going to use superiority dice.
Okay.
4 plus Hunter's Mark. Okay. Fourth attack.
Fourth attack misses, unfortunately. The energy that you felt, you just maybe waning down, but didn't hit. But after that last hit that you did make, he's now looking quite bloodied and hurt.
Okay.
Anything else?
I'm going to abandon these dice and I'm going to roll here.
Okay, cool.
You can watch my rolls. I think they're off the chart today.
Same roll goes. As soon as you get your third crit, I'll ask you to come
watch. Yeah, it's fine.
Cool. All right. Anything else from you, Aaron?
No.
Oh, all right. Artir, still in your invisible form, you see that Aaron is trying to face off alone with this giant, and whatever it is, his attacks just aren't able to.
It sounded like you might have just, yeah. Okay, I will use a bonus action to go back into a rage since it has subsided by now. Mm-hmm. And although I am invisible and probably would get advantage on the first swing, I will attack recklessly so I can get advantage on both swings.
Okay, go ahead.
And use my Great Weapon Master.
First attack hits.
23 and
23. The second
19.
attack also hits with a 19. Go ahead and roll the damage on those.
For 24 and 29 points of damage.
Right. You carve deep into this guy's flesh. He almost drops down to one knee under the weight of those powerful attacks. Anything else from you, Artir?
That's it.
All right. In response, heavy-handed, he picks up his greatsword and will swing twice at Artir, who just did the most damage. And he has advantage on the attacks because you recklessly attacked him. So that's a 27 to hit for the first attack.
Hits.
Hits. Second attack is a 29 to hit.
Hits.
Right. First attack does. Ooh. Yeah. First attack does 41 points of. No, not 41. 39 points of slashing damage, halved down to 19.
66.
6d6 plus 7 slashing damage. And I rolled 4 6s, a 5, and a 4. Second attack. Is 30 slashing damage, cut down to 15 because of your raging. Okay. At the end of that fire giant's turn, you all, well, Loic particularly sees that 2 more fire giants crest up and finish their turns just on the edge of this balcony. Loic, what would you like to do?
First, I'm going to telepathically ask if they want to, if my group wants to attempt combat with these 2 that are approaching. There may be more behind them.
Can we answer telepathically?
Yeah.
Too many.
Briefly.
Too many?
Too many.
Okay. Coming for Gamel then. Meet around Gamel.
So
Sounds
what are you
good.
doing, Loic?
And Gamel, you feel a supportive tentacle on your shoulder.
Supportive invisible tentacle.
And
All right. Anything else from you, Loic?
Gamel jumps a little bit when that happens.
as my action... Wait, let me make sure that I didn't... Okay, so I can't quite go that far.
You can go 1 square to the left.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
That'll be enough.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, and
No
then
problem.
once they all get to me, I'm going to hit that button.
Which button?
The one that goes to Arborea.
Okay.
Because I know that place
Right.
is safe.
All right. Fair enough. Then you hear a voice charging through as this much larger fire giant steps into the clearing. Welcome, guests, to my home. Gamel, you see this new fire giant, followed by 2 more, stepping into the fray. You're muted.
I bet his name is Duke.
Possibly. He is carrying a very big hammer. And you swear... 1 second. You swear there's... It looks like the hammer has a creature inside of it.
That's thrilling.
Like the hammer is a cage. There's a creature inside of it.
Oh. All right. Here's... Why do I even pretend like I'm going to attack anything? I'm just going to crit roll, and this is not going to work out. All right. I am going to... I still got my gun in my hand, so I'm going to shoot the one giant that Aaron and Artir are still going at with my last grip point, just to get advantage on it with my last pistol shot.
The last shot, it does connect perfectly. He is so close to dying now.
And then I am actually going to... so I get a second attack.
Yep.
Can I use that as a prepared action or a delayed action? I'm gonna, if anything comes within 30 feet of me before my next turn, I do my second attack at it? Or do I have to whip an attack off? Because I get an extra attack action, right?
Yeah, so
how's that work?
Here's how it works. You have 1 action per turn.
Right.
And you can use that action to use the ready action, which allows you to ready an attack or something, a spell or something in the instance. Unfortunately, you used your action to attack, and your extra attack feature means that when you make that attack, you can make a second attack as part of that action.
All right, we are going to chuck Whelm at the hurt giant and just hope that that takes care of some things.
Okay, so here's the million-dollar question. You had Whelm in your hand to begin with. Is Whelm in one hand and the pistol in the other?
Yeah.
Okay, where's the musket?
It's back over here, broken on the ground.
Okay.
Well, not broken, misfired. But yeah.
You launch Whelm, he flies off, and in that moment you realize you have left your musket on the ground, far away, behind the giant. Anything else from you, Gamel?
Well, considering I just rolled a 3 again. Nope, I'm good. I'm just going to sit over here and cry.
Okay, Aaron.
See ya. Slash down on him.
Okay, go ahead and make the attack. I hope you hit. There we go. A 27 definitely hits. And 15 is exactly enough to kill.
So I had 27. Right, he's down. I am going to grab Artir, if he lets me, and drag him to the meeting spot.
So, Artir, will you allow him to grapple you?
I will resist.
Okay, so contested athletics checks, please. So Artir is the one that is resisting, so if he meets or exceeds, he wins.
Oh,
Unfortunately, you try to grab and he just throws, not even looking at you, just throws your hand back. His eye is focused on something else.
okay, stay here.
What are you doing, Aaron?
Obviously not trying to save everyone. I'm going to run towards Loic and go, give me that friendly tentacle.
Okay. As soon as you get over there, you stop moving when you feel the other half of the same tentacle just rest on your shoulder now.
I look at the big giant and go, nice pad, see ya.
Artir, what are you going to do?
I am going to run to the other side of the giant, pick up the musket, use the rest of my movement to get back to the other side of the giant, and then use my action to dash to make my way back all the way to the group who is waiting.
Oh, if that's what you wanted to do, I've done that.
That is very thoughtful. That's nice. Thank you.
Aaron didn't see the musket.
All right. So as the last of your party members comes in, Loic, you can see Zalto is right there. You push that button. The portal opens to Arborea.
On my side so that he can't see what I have. In case I come out of invisibility by doing this.
Okay. You will come out of invisibility because this is an action, a serious action. A portal suddenly erupts around everyone else. You guys haven't seen this portal be used before. Only Lael has seen it used. So suddenly a tear in the fabric of just the universe, the air just splits open, and as this swirling mist coalesces and then focuses, strangely, instead of seeing the hot forges, you can see into a very nice lush green field with trees as far as you can see and sun shining brightly off in the distance.
Look,
the portal has been opened.
Collapses as soon as he gets to the other side on the ground and starts making grass angels absently.
Okay. So Loic jumps through.
I thought this was a plane shift.
This is plane shift. Everyone goes.
This is plane
this is plane shift. Okay, so everyone gets pulled across.
Yeah, Aaron's going to be doing a big, like, flip the bird. Bear paw style. There you go.
So what does that feel like getting plane shifted?
I imagine it feels like a little bit like getting caught up in a whirlwind. Like a strong surge of wind would spin about you changing your
Like
perceptual-
it doesn't feel like you're being turned inside out or anything. It's just like really windy.
So
Gravity.
in a moment, you
Sure.
feel your body, like all of your weight in your body just suddenly disappears. You feel completely weightless as you drift from one plane to another. Everything kind of blends together in this myriad of colors as it starts to get a little brighter. And feels calmer as you see birds flitting across in front of you. The portal behind you is not there. You are completely safe on this brand new land. Clouds in the sky. It's perfectly like, this is what you would imagine heaven to be like. Is Arborea.
I'm on the ground and I'm just like, welcome to Arborea, guys.
All right, we're gonna reload. We're gonna prep some stuff, and then we're gonna go back. And we're gonna kill everybody.
I definitely need a rest. I took many hits.
You get 5 minutes. I am ticked.
So, you guys have never plane shifted before. You've never been to this place before. What would you like to do?
Where are we, Lomic?
We are in Arborea, and let's see. Is the sun moving at all, or
No,
nothing's happening?
sun is not moving right now.
Okay.
It's very calm, very serene.
This specific field could be pretty much any part of Arborea, honestly. Most places have something of the
Does
sort.
Aaron know what a Boreal is?
I've
Make
told
a
you.
religion check. Oh yeah.
Did you?
So
Remember when
Well,
we...
you mentioned it, but like you haven't really described what a Boreal is. Have you?
Yeah, I remember we were talking about the place where I thought you might go when you die, and how it's all nature and not complete chaos, but enough chaos to give you a sense of supreme freedom.
Okay.
All that stuff. All the critters are here.
So Aaron's going to be like, so this is where you thought I'd end up?
This or adjacent.
Are you sure we didn't die then?
Yeah. You're asking a pro that question, so
Just
I can
checking.
definitely say yes.
For anybody watching, Loic has died at least twice.
Is this the domain of Maliki?
No, not specifically. Coralon is the one that resides over this entire land. He's like the big papa, I guess you could say. And then everybody else has minor realms within it. Maliki does have a realm here, but it's not. Arborea is not exclusive to her.
as he's describing this, you notice between the trees, a couple horses move by. Make a perception check. Aaron, anyone. You swear those horses
can't
had
even roll.
horns.
No. I said I wasn't going to roll on roll 20.
I can't even roll on a perception check.
It's 15.
Okay. You swear one of those horses had a horn. Like, that's a unicorn. This is definitely not Neverwinter anymore.
Gamble suddenly vomits. He took a lot of damage. He is really upset. And now that he's like starting to calm down, suddenly it all just catches up to him and he just blah.
Aaron's going to pat his
It's
back
into a bush.
and slight hand his flask off of where it on his belt, where I imagine he might keep it, and then just hand it to him. The old ginger brew.
That's right. Yeah.
So, what are you guys doing now that you're on this perfect plane?
I'm
Short
gonna
rests.
pop out the fort.
Okay. So I
Aaron's
pop out the
gonna-
fort, use the command word. This little cube then stretches and shifts, and in a quick moment, it forms into the tall adamantine structure of the instant fortress that you're on.
So Aaron's going to be like patting Gamel's back, and it appears making plans for armor differs from making plans for infiltration and killing everything, Master Dwarf.
Though to be fair, if Lael had stuck around, I think we could have had those guys. But they are now significantly weakened, and if we can recover and return before they're able to recover, we'll have that much more of the advantage.
Loic, if we go back, do we go back to the same spot, or can we appear anywhere in there that now you've had a look at it?
There is a slight hitch in that. I can only get us so close and so specific because this is a universal utensil. So I can say, return us to Iron Slag, and it will return us to Iron Slag, but not necessarily to any particular rooms that we know about. But we can also appear outside of Iron Slag and just go back through the mines and take some time to do that. It's a long route, but maybe it's safer.
Is there any limit on how often you can use this thing?
3 times. Well, it's got 3 charges per day, and it depends on how the gods are feeling, I suppose. The universe is how many charges I regain the following day.
If we if we go back and try and work our way through the mines, they know we came in that way. They'll.
But you've got 2
Oh,
charges
God,
left, so we can just go back to Iron Slag, and if things don't go well, whip right back out, and then we have to take some real serious time to reconsider.
I want to ask, what's the point of sneaking in anymore? Because nothing we do, we don't end up ever sneaking. I mean, as soon as we come to the people that we should be sneaking by, we start unloading on them, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just kind of like I keep getting misdirected. You know?
To be honest, that he saw us. There wasn't many places to hide in this instance. Like that wasn't really us wailing on them.
I disagree. There were places for us to hide,
and we chose not to.
Yes, and that's okay. It's just I thought we were doing one thing. It seems like nobody here, and I'm not saying this. You guys are very strong with combat. You guys are comfortable with combat. That's what I see, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's y'all's way. But when it comes to attempts at sneaking, we have like 10 out of 10 times failed because that's just not what we do.
Well, and I don't sneak well, and I'm Master Wizard. I'm so unfamiliar with magics. If I had known that you could just make everyone invisible, maybe we should have just done that and walked through and walked around.
You'll have noticed I couldn't make everyone invisible.
Well, all the more point then. I mean So this is the point. If we are what we are, and we know that, let's rest up. Let's get set. Let's get prepped, and let's just drop in and wreck things.
Let's do it.
And then, if it doesn't work out, we pop out again. But I think you're right. By not having a plan, we went in, and I don't think we were as effective as we could have been. But if we're ready and we just go in and rely on what we're really good at, which is not the sneaking around, that's a great idea, Loic.
I like how you can translate what I say into what I mean.
Well, I would say that we did have a plan. The plan was to hide in the carts. Unfortunately, the carts that we intended to plan on to hide in were being rifled through by the ogres, so we could not carry through with that plan.
See, while y'all were thinking about what to do with the ogres, I was also thinking what to do about the ogres. I had some options, but nothing called out to me. If I had just had a little bit more time, I might have been able to do something, like obscure their senses so that they would be completely dumb to what we were doing. But that aside, I had ideas. They were just coming slowly.
Well, we felled 2 fire giants and 3 ogres, and those were not in our original count of adversaries. So we still have at least 6 fire giants, a child fire giant,
Those
2
fire
ogres.
giants hit too hard. We need to We need to work at range.
I'm very interested in that golem, in that construct. I want to see if there's anything I can do to it.
What can we do to keep people away from us? Because I agree, we got to work at range, and I think Artir, all of us have excellent ranged options. Artir with his javelins, Aaron, you certainly have some bow and arrow skills. I have my
The giants have
weaponry.
their rocks.
Almost exactly the moment, Gamel, that you talk about bow and arrow skills, an arrow soars through the air and embeds itself right in the ground, right in the center of your little square that you guys are stood there talking. Next thing you know, you look out, there are circles of elves that all step out of the forests around you.
I'm gonna.
Bows.
Do you mind? I am having a conversation.
Not cool, Aaron. It's all right, guys. We're allowed to be here.
I'm going to put my hands up and then step in the front door of the Adamantine Fortress.
Like raged bear. He's like had a bad time in the dungeon. He's bad time here. He's pretty frustrated. He's lost it.
Do you speak or understand Elven?
Yes.
You do. Good. Because you're half elf. Yeah. You hear him, one of the elves, not exactly sure which of them voices it, but they do, as they have their bows trained on you. Wicked beast, you are trespassing this land.
I promise we're
Why
not.
have you come here?
I promise we're not trespassing. If we weren't allowed to be here, Coralon would have never let me in. I've been here twice now. We were basically in a hot spot, literally.
Very hot.
And we've just escaped to save our own lives and recollect. This is the safest place I know.
How close
Step
is the
into
door
a
of this
haven.
fortress?
Oh, it's right there. It's right next to you.
Gamel's
But
gonna tug briefly on the elbow of both Aaron and Artir, and then just walk back into the door.
The fortress, which is invisible, right? You guys, did you get it enchanted to be invisible?
We
No,
did,
it
but
was non-detection.
No, it has invisibility on it, but it's a turn off, turn on thing, and we didn't turn it on. So.
Okay. So as you step in, he continues. You step into our land and talk of battles and plan to kill. This land is a haven.
Who said anything about killing?
You guys all talked about going in and attacking with force.
Yeah.
Oh, they heard that.
Oh, okay. Oh, they're fire giants. They're fire giants. It's all a complex material plane thing. We're from the material plane.
This is just a sanctuary. It's a timeout. Let's everyone have a timeout.
We went here because we didn't want to fight.
Check.
Who's rolling persuasion?
Either Aaron or, terrible. Loic, go ahead and roll a persuasion as you attempted to calm them down. As Aaron's shouting, he forgets that he's still speaking in bear.
I'm a hybrid. I can speak.
I know. All right.
Better for you to be speaking in bear than to roll a nat 1 on your persuasion in Elven.
We have kept our eyes on you, wizard. Every time you have entered these lands, we have seen it.
I've been a good.
You may not pose a threat to us, but your actions are questionable.
Well, then please help me understand.
This land is a land of peace and harmony. It is a haven for all those who come within. By speaking of conquest, of battle, you taint the essence and the air around you.
Oh.
Your mortal forms cause disturbances.
Sorry. Who was the one who just shot at us? When you were telling us we made no threatening action,
please.
and you're the one telling me that we're threatening when you've made aggressive actions on us first.
Aaron, these are not our enemies. Please don't make them our
I am
enemies.
not making it. I'm making a sane argument.
Do it
We're
less
just
aggressively.
Hearing this conversation, Gamel slides back out of the door just like he did, like that, like awkward slide. He like slides back out with his flask in his hand and like sort of passes it over to Aaron, and then like takes 2 steps back and slides back into the door. Take some of this.
Aaron's animal
Please do not linger here.
wasn't the plan.
Okay. Can we have 8 hours? Would you allow us? We won't leave the fort.
Stay within your...
Oh, you muted.
You did, yeah. Stay within that thing. Do not leave it. And you will be permitted to live.
I apparently don't know how things work, and no one's spared the time to tell me. I'd be interested in understanding why and how things work, if you'd be willing to tell me some other time, if you have the time to spare, so that I do not accidentally do anything untoward. I like this place. I want to keep it the way it is. We came here because it's so wonderful. So.
We are the protectors of this land. We keep it as serene and beautiful as it is. When creatures who are not native to this land enter, it is a danger to everything that holds this plane intact. Every time a person steps in and out of this plane through non-natural means, it wears down on the protections that keep it such a beautiful and sacred place.
So, would you continue to find issue with my trespassing if I found a way to counter that effect? To fix the problem?
The method in which you shift here devours a lot of magical energy. If you can refill it, then your presence is welcome.
Okay. And there's nowhere in all of Arborea that is like a vestibule for people that simply need to be here for 2 seconds for a meeting of some kind?
No one should come to Arborea without having perished previously.
You guys are a lot more lawful than I was imagining.
It is the way of the planes. The heavens have been created in such a way that it is a rest place for souls who have worshipped.
But it's
their
also,
gods.
but most planes are also manipulatable based on who rules it. In which case, this would be the Sylvan court. So, it's Coralon's doing, specifically.
Yes.
What a lawful guy!
What's your name?
My name is Archaea.
I'll be sure to remember that.
Now,
He's going to write a letter to your manager.
I need to tell you, because of, well, if you've been
If
watching,
I ever end up here.
I hope you know, that I gave a friend who lives here an item of great power to hide away, so that no one can get their hands on it. I will need to retrieve it at some point, so that it doesn't stay here. You guys would accept that if I came to get it? You'd know what I was doing?
Yes,
Okay. Alright.
very well. We will be out of sight, but know that we will be watching.
Of course.
They all step back at once into the trees, disappearing from sight effectively.
smack Aaron and be like, hey, one of those might have been your great-great-great-great-granddaddy. Mother. Grandmother.
Aaron's in growly mood.
Okay, well, let's get you inside and get you some more ginger ale.
Aaron squeezes through the door, which he can barely fit through in his hybrid form.
Yeah, I'm not even going to downsize. I'm too aggravated.
Right. So you guys rest up, heal your wounds, spend 8 hours relaxing.
I think actually Aaron's just going to slip into full bear mode and curl up in a corner.
Okay.
Next
to the forge.
I need to roll. I need to roll to fix my musket.
Yep.
Oh, good. It's fixed.
That's fine. Cool. All right. Everyone, because of the battles that you had and survived, everyone gets 3,000 XP.
Survived with increasingly crappy rolls.
Yeah. But you did manage to slay 2 fire giants and 3 ogres before 3 more fire giants came into the fray. All right. So as the day wears on, it moves through. You guys rest, you sleep, you heal up completely, you refresh completely. You get back any spell slots that were expended. You hadn't spent any hit die this day, I don't think, so that's all the same as it once was.
We go back up to max hit points, right?
Yes, you do. And all of your skills and feats are all also refreshed.
I will say, Gamel, like, he's really upset. He's kind of frustrated, like Aaron, and he goes to this forge in the corner and he's working on some armor. And over the next 8 hours, as people are kind of resting or whatever else, he always seems to be there, and he doesn't seem to sleep. Like, at no point does he take a full 8-hour rest, where he like lays stuff down and goes to sleep.
Okay.
If any of you noticed that.
Loic, who also doesn't need to sleep, I don't think. No, you do. Loic, you do.
I do.
Yeah. So you guys at some point will have noticed it.
Yeah. I would have 8 hours at some point gone over and come out of bear form at some stage during the night, totally naked.
Terminator style.
But no, I would have mentioned something to him like, you need some rest. We can't be fighting fatigued. We need to be at full strength tomorrow.
No, yeah, of course. I'm still really upset. Just really, I feel calmer just working on this. I'll just work on it a little bit more, and then I'll go to sleep.
You need to make sure you get 8 hours.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really.
I need you fresh. I need you fresh. We all need you fresh.
I'm not really tired right now. I'm just, my head feels a little. You ever have where your head just feels a little too full? There's just too much going on.
Yeah.
Like working on this kind of soothes me. So I'm just gonna work on it a little bit more until I calm down a little bit, and then I'll grab some sleep and some food, and we'll be fine.
All right.
Keeps working on it, and does not stop working on it for 8 hours.
Spends the entire time, which by the time you guys had entered, because of the time that you had entered the mines, spent a couple hours getting down into the iron slag itself, took about an hour and a half down there before you ran away. You actually started your rest what should be mid-afternoon. So 8 hours later, you guys wake up. You feel like it's probably late in the night. You do feel refreshed, ready to move on. You look outside the tower, though, and the sun doesn't appear to have moved much, if at all. Definitely doesn't look like night, but You are absolutely certain you've spent 8 hours resting. Now that you're refreshed, what would you guys like to do?
Does Gamble look refreshed?
Camel looks refreshed.
I look great. My face was beaten up. Like I had all sorts of problems. I look like healed. I feel great. He's back in his normal.
Insight check.
Happy fun time.
Go ahead and roll an insight check.
Yeah, I imagine
His head that felt really stuffed up earlier. He's now feeling much clearer about
I imagine, like, you know, that
it.
we must have heard the
What's your
tings
secret?
and the tangs.
Tell me them all.
So, Loic, with insight, you are able to tell that he does look like you can tell he didn't sleep at all by the way that he is still working on the same things he was working on the night before. He didn't sleep, but he looks completely refreshed, as if he had slept.
How could that have naturally occurred? Is what my insight was trying to figure out. Because that wasn't. He's said so far that he doesn't do magic. So.
Roll a history check for me.
Can I roll my guild check to see how many days worth of work I got done in 8 hours?
Yes. So instead of rolling it as you did last time, Gamel, just FYI.
Yeah.
Because I noticed something different happened. So on your character sheet, Gamel.
Yep.
On the section that says attributes and abilities, you should have crafting progress. Click and roll that one, rather than rolling a smithing check.
Attributes and abilities. I'm not find you. Where are you?
Okay, so on your character sheet, you know, not actually the character sheet itself, you've got bio and info character sheet and then attributes and abilities at the top. On the right, you should see second wind and crafting progress.
I found this the other day. Where is it now? I cannot find that.
Okay, what are you looking at right now?
I'm on core.
Okay, so look up at the top of your character sheet where it says bio and info, character sheet, and attributes and abilities.
Aha! Wow, I'm an idiot. Great, found it.
No problem. So you should see crafting progress as a role there.
Okay.
Click that and then use your strength modifier. You're doing 1 day's worth. 1 day's worth.
Apply attribute bonus to training. Strength.
Yep. Strength.
26.
That's how many days left, I believe, if I remember rightly.
Well, I had 48 days left. You plugged in this macro, so I'm not quite sure how it works.
Yeah. Okay, no, it's saying you've used 26 out of the 60, so you've got 34 days left of your crafting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Back to the accusations from the wizard.
So, Loic, with your history check, in particular, you remember in your training with your new master, he mentioned that there are ways a mystic could avoid sleep.
Gamel.
Ignore my smile, because that's Matthew, not Gamel. Gamel's like, what?
Do you have any idea what sort of skills you've picked up on? Or did you have these
What do you
skills
mean?
before? You have not slept, and you
Haven't I? Because I remember I sat down to do some smithing, and then it felt like waking up. Like, just put some stuff away, and I feel pretty good.
Well, as far
I
as
assume because sometimes I'd work till I was really tired and fall asleep, and I'd get up and work again, and I didn't really remember going to sleep or getting up.
okay, yeah, I was asleep, so maybe you were asleep too.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what seems out of place.
Just FYI, just so that we get this clear, mechanics-wise, Gamel has in his backstory had his mind messed with previously, and repeated it, repeated telepathic actions have unlocked some mystic abilities in him. Unfortunately, he doesn't know anything about the skills and things that he has, but they're starting to wake up and unlock in him. So please don't think he's trying to hide things from you.
I don't.
It's just he doesn't know. Okay, good.
I don't, and Matt, you did a great job portraying that. It's exactly what
Oh, thank you.
It's exactly what I thought.
Great.
My frustration is only in that, honestly, if I had been sleeping for 8 hours, I wouldn't know whether or not he actually slept. You know, no one's there to tell me he worked all night. So.
I guess Aaron could probably mention that though. Look, while you were asleep, I saw Gamma working all night.
Yeah, but then me.
No, like Aaron must have gone
Sure.
and got some sleep himself,
Sure.
because otherwise I'd not be rested. So
Either way,
I
no
would be
conclusive
assured.
evidence can be gathered at this time.
mhm.
Indeed.
Case closed.
At this point. But after your 8 hours, you guys have been warned to leave.
And that's exactly
Where
what
are
we're
you
doing.
going?
All right. Mount up. Get all your gear out. We're gonna teleport to Ironforge, and just whatever we see, we're gonna wreck it. And then we'll just be smarter about it, and we're just gonna go in attacking, and we're just gonna full frontal that thing.
Can I try to mess with the construct? Or do you guys want me right behind you the whole time?
If the construct could be used, I assume the giants would be using it themselves, and I would appreciate your abilities on the battlefield more than I would. I
Generally,
would
like
miss those. Yes.
yeah, generally if we're in the vicinity and we can come in quietly, you can do what you like. But if we go right into the thick of it, I want you by our side. Is that fair?
Yeah, you just... All you need... You don't have to convince me of anything. You just need to say, yes, I want you by my side.
Well, I think we need you.
Okay. Say it again.
Yes, if you could make it, we need you, Loic. You are our only hope.
So let's warp in. Let's warp in to Iron Slag, and first thing we see, attack it, and then just in case. So if we get the jump on them, and then after a second or two, prioritize targets for the most important ones, and then just see how that goes. And worst comes to worst, we warp back here and fight a bunch of elves.
In what case would you guys be okay with me dumping a ton of acid on you? Is that like 3 guys around you, or smaller, or
Can you dump poison instead?
no?
I'm fine with acid.
Follow your heart, Loic.
Oh, I mean, it could be force. It could be cold. It could be cold. No, they don't have. Never mind.
Acid, I'm good with. I can deal with acid.
Okay.
Right. Should we focus on one target at a time? Let's focus fire on everything.
Right. Focus fire on the first thing we see, just because the first 6 seconds are important. Of course, there might not be anything there, but then once we have a second to figure out where we're at, focus on the most important guy first.
I will be doing field control if I can do it, starting out.
Let's
If you could make it more difficult for enemies to hit us, but not make it more difficult for us to hit our enemies, it would be appreciated.
That's more of a singular
let's
target.
right. You've got a lot of range. Did you fix your musket? Is it fixed?
I did. Yeah, musket. I am all ready. Like, you look at him, he's got his pistol in his holster, he's got his musket out, he's got Wilma on the back, he's got his spare shield out. Like, he looks ready, just like he is really focused right now.
If we can get a line of fire, I can get a good 300 yards with the bow. Let's get a line of fire going, and let's not charge towards them. Let them work towards us. Once they get in close, then we'll move into melee. And Loic possibly could do anything he can to keep them from throwing anything back at us. Wall of force.
More that we have very high
I've seen you block
regards
things
for your
before.
abilities.
My thought is not the quicker they get into close combat, the worse off we're going to be quicker. Yeah. So just keep them from chucking stuff back at us, and we can just shoot them from a distance. That's my. If we find ourselves in close combat straight away, then we just go at it.
I will add that I can still be very persuasive if we want to try a more nuanced approach.
You see how he convinced us to do that?
Exactly.
If
we teleport in, and there are people who can understand the words that are coming out of my mouth, I may be able to convince them that we are on their side.
Right. We just killed 5 of his guys, and I flipped him the bird on the way out. He's not going to be that very.
We might not see him when we first.
The most persuasive guy in the world, but I don't think you're going to be able to swing him.
When we first arrive, we may not encounter Mr. Zalto again. We may encounter someone else. If they speak my language, I might be able to convince them that their interests are in line with ours. Who knows? We shall see.
Okay, so Loic, using the cubic gate.
Aaron's going to enlarge and prep and have everything ready. I'm going to have a bow and the longsword in each hand.
Where are you trying to open the portal?
Right next to the door that we entered. On the inside of it. In that hall.
Right.
So not right where we came out of, right outside the door?
To the left of where we were.
Okay, so if they lock the door, we're still inside. It's your thing. Go ahead. Sorry.
In the mines in Ironslag. Which side of the door?
Inside of Ironslag.
Ironslag. Okay. Right. Then.
Oh, I'm going to prepare an action to shoot the first thing I see that isn't someone I know.
Do not shoot the child.
Well, I don't want to shoot you either. So, just the idea. We're going to teleport. I'm expecting a fight.
Okay. Go ahead and make me an intelligence-based skill check. Go ahead and make an Arcana.
I just did.
Okay, perfect. So with a 25, let's see what the chances are of you landing where you want to land. Okay, so 8 hours later, you push the button. The portal begins to swirl and open, and you can see exactly where you had left. You all plane shift through into it, and we're actually going to stop the session there, guys, as you pop back into Ironslag 8 hours later.
Bummer.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Next week session, I believe we are going to continue with the adventure through Ironslag, and because I believe we'll have everyone next week. Who's not going to be here next week?
I may be late, but I'll definitely be here at some point.
I'm not here.
Okay. All right. Yeah, same time next week. Thank you for joining us. Good night.